Hello and welcome to another update video about Crypto.com Cronos. I'd like to do a little bit of time traveling with you today. We want to go back to a video from the 11th of January when I first, or maybe even I started earlier, I don't know, but when I definitely talked about my targets for Crypto.com, and I'll show you a quick snippet, and then we also take a look at another updated video from the last week. And then we're going to take a look how the price actually developed, and we do an updated TA for CRO because we had a bit of a roller coaster here in the last few days and weeks. Is where we finally will get to. I think we're going to see lower prices here for Crypto.com or for CRO. I think we're going to see then if we lose this level, and I think we will at some point here in the near future, we are going to see prices between the 0.887 FIB level at 18.5 cents and between the 0.786 FIB level at 27.6 cents. So this was the video from the 11th of January, and just to complete that, let me show you one of the videos here from the 2nd of May. Either a bullish signal, something like that, maybe a first impulse to the upside. That would be the bullish scenario, where we would now see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you would see a 3-wave move down. That would be ideal ABC, and that would be a great entry point. Yeah. Okay, and now let's take a look at the chart. Let's do a bit of time traveling here back to the 11th of January and take a look at how the price actually developed. And it just shows how long such a correction can actually take. So there you go. You can see how this has all played out over time. You know, we're now in February. Up and down. You can see markets never move in a straight line. It's always a little bit of an up and down. You can imagine how difficult it is for me to remain you know, quite constant and quite just stick to my scenario, right? Because it is quite hard when you see those ups and downs. But overall, I have kept my scenario on the chart, and there you go. You can see how we very nicely touched that area perfectly. And we've come away from it already. So we've seen that, as I indicated in the last video, we have seen that reaction, that initial reaction. I mentioned it at some other points in that video from a couple of days ago as well, that we were just massively oversold, and typically you could expect a reaction to the upside. I did also expect a reaction to the upside by Bitcoin, and that has happened today as well, obviously also acting as a catalyst for CRO, for Crypto.com. So that is so far all playing out. And as I always say, I mean, I show you that just to indicate and to show you that the Elliott wave method, which I use here to analyze the charts, that this is really what comes closest to what you can consider magic. Yeah, it really does. It always amazes me how accurate it can be when applied correctly and when you have the correct wave count. Obviously, when you mess the wave count up, you get wrong targets and everything. But when you are riding the right wave, and that all depends on how accurate you can, or how correctly you can count the waves. If you are riding the right wave count and you get confidence and you know that the price is adhering to your wave count, then that shows you can add the other puzzle pieces to the puzzle, actually, to complete the puzzle step by step. And that means, or that increases the likelihood that also going forward we are going to be able to forecast the next price targets fairly accurately. Now we have come to that target area here, and we touched the 78.6% Fibonacci level at around 27 cents. What is very important is to understand that obviously we've identified the target area for a long time, and typically in such a second wave, so we've seen here an A, B, C correction, in such a wave too, typically altcoins, other assets as well, which are very young and very volatile, they are coming down to these levels. Still very, very likely is that we are going to see the 17.5 cent level at the 88.7% Fibonacci level at one point. We currently see a strong reaction, and that is not to underestimate. I mean, we came down to exactly that level. Anyone who put a buy order here, can have already made roughly 15% in just a few days, which is not too bad. But this is only a small upside now, So we need to be aware And as long as we don't get at least above the next FIB level here at 41 cents, the downside potential is still very much there. And we could theoretically now see here a corrective move up, because there are two movements. I mean, what I showed you in the last video would be now the possibility that we see an impulsive move up, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is an impulse. This goes into the direction of the higher level trend. That means if the trend is now changing into an uptrend, we would see an impulse. Yeah, so that is a very good forecast machine for understanding if the uptrend has started. After your first 5-wave impulse, you typically get your first 3-wave correction. That typically comes down very close to the beginning as well of that impulse, which means there is nothing lost with just waiting for that impulse to be complete and that correction to be complete to get more certainty about where we are in the process. Because what also could happen is that we now just see a corrective move up, which would be a 3-wave move, and that you then get another 5-wave move down that would take us deeper into the target area here and possibly all the way down to the 88.7% Fibonacci level. And that is now what I don't see, what I can't tell you. I can tell you that the probability that the overall correction is finished has increased by finally getting into the target area. Now the price has finally done what we have forecasted back in January. The price has finally come down to the target area. It has now done what it needs to do in this correction to complete the correction, which doesn't mean the correction must be finished, but it means all the things are in place for the market now to start to new all-time highs, which doesn't mean the market wants to do it yet, but it means that if it happens, I won't have any headache about that. I'm very happy with the chart, how it looks now. It has come down perfectly to that Fibonacci level, but there is still significant potential there at the moment that we drop once more, even to the 88.7% Fibonacci level. The way I play this, or I would play this personally, is to buy here, set a limit order just above the 78.6% Fib level. Now that's obviously too late, but that is why I show you these target areas. And if you buy here or not, that's eventually your decision. This is never financial advice. It's always I only show you how I understand the chart, and I can tell you what I would do. And I would personally go long here and then have another buy order set either in here or at just above the lower support level. And then I would just try to accumulate here. And because these are the areas where with the highest probability the price would turn around. And then it's up to you if you want to use a stop loss or not. So there is more downside potential, but there you also come to the limits of what TA and what the Elliott wave method can forecast. I mean, I think it's been quite impressive. We can consider that we have come down exactly to that point. We have seen exactly to the cent accurately a reaction to that Fibonacci level. That should be proof enough for many people who say that TA doesn't work, that it does work, yeah, if you're riding the right wave. But if we are now starting from here, or if we come down once more to the 88.7%, that is what I can't tell you. At the moment, the downside potential is still very much there, and only really as soon as we get above 41.6 cents, that's the 61.8% Fib level, and ideally even above the 50% level here, which is the 52 cent level. Until then, the downside potential isn't gone. Yeah, and that is the risk that every trader, every investor needs to take. What you need to understand is that the correction could theoretically be finished yet. I don't expect it to be finished, but it could now be. And anybody who did not buy at that 78.6% Fib level should not complain if the price then goes up and is going to new all-time highs. Yeah, because chasing the lowest low is, in my opinion, never a good idea, especially not looking at it from a longer term point of view. But again, that is not financial advice. And so far, this is now, I think really there is only Polygon, there's Polygon left, Polkadot and Bitcoin. I think these are the only three cryptos that have not yet reached my target areas that we defined months ago. But let's see, I think I could be wrong. I think it's only these three, but with a very important one, obviously Bitcoin also has not yet reached its target area. But yeah, I do expect still them to reach the target area, and that would probably also send CRO once more down, and then we could say hello here to the 88.7% Fib level. Overall, what you can see here, which supports here the scenario that we could see some further short-term upside at least, yeah, because short-term upside, short-term noise is always possible. As I said, after such a strong downtrend, you naturally expect some sort of a move up. That could be a corrective one or an impulsive one. Only the next few days are going to show that. But on the 8-hour chart, you're now going to see here probably a bullish crossover. On the daily, it's still very, very early. So here we have not even, well, we have started to turn around, but it takes time for it to develop here a potential bullish crossover. Very, very far away from that. So only again, the next few days are going to show what the market decides to do here, if it starts to develop a first impulse or just a correction, which would then in the next step send the price down once more. And I'll keep you updated, of course. If you don't want to miss anything, please subscribe. Also hit the like button and leave a comment if you like the video and if you think I provided some value here. And if you really like the content, maybe check out the channel membership. You can find the links for that in the description. You can join either via YouTube, my website, or via Patreon. And yeah, maybe even check out the trading course that I'm currently publishing on my website. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.